Stop giving your money to woke corporations that hate you and your values. That's why I order all my man's shaving products from Jeremy Razors. Order your Precision 5 starter set today. This set comes with 4 razor blades, sharp as true, with tungsten handle and flip back trimmer. You're not in the market for razors? Jeremy Razors also has other facial products fit just for men. So you don't have to stock your bathroom with products that clean your body but stains your conscience. So shut up and shave. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use cburns15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code cburns15 to save 15% off. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. You want to click the like button, subscribe, and comment on this video. We are live. I don't know what platform you're watching me from, but I got 5 platforms going. And today we're going to get into it. Vivek Ramaswamy was on the Breakfast Club. I think it was last week, maybe. I just got around to reacting to it because of the holiday and all that good stuff. So we're going to talk about that reaction. I thought it was blatant disrespect. Actually, someone on my live stream yesterday mentioned it to me or reminded me of this interaction. And a couple of days ago, my sister asked me if she was wondering what my take was on the whole interaction with the Breakfast Club. So we're going to go over that. We're actually going to look at that video. If you want to look, it's a 45-minute video. We're not going to react to everything. I picked out certain spots that I particularly want to go over. So if you want to look at the whole stream, you just go to the Breakfast Club and I think it's like or type in Vivek Ramaswamy in the Breakfast Club and it will come up. And that's on YouTube. Now, so we're going to talk about that. Another thing that we're going to talk about is, as living in Black America, some Black people feel as if number one, they hate, like literally hate white people, and they hate America. It's like the bane to their existence. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go over a few videos and look at a few videos, one of which is Dr. Umar Johnson. We got a video from Jill Scott. She changed the whole American national anthem. We're going to look over that. And then a thing that Charlamagne the God, you know, his main point of, hey, America is crap because of white supremacy. And so we're going to view that. And we'll talk about my take on their perspective and how I view America. Anyway, so let's get to the Breakfast Club. You guys type in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. And just wanted to post support for the channel. This is from Anthony. Anthony, thank you. Can't watch the live. I'll catch you later. Love the content. Peace, love, and profit. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Anthony. So we are going to get into this Vivek Ramaswamy interaction with the Breakfast Club. Now, I don't know what the young lady name is. I didn't catch it, but she's on there often, and apparently she's always commentating or interviewing some of the presidential candidates. And to me, she was very combative and the typical angry Black woman type of combative. And I don't know where her attitude came from when questioning him. I guess because he's never served in civil duty. He's never been like a senator or blah, blah, blah. So I guess that disqualifies him for being the president. But I'm sorry, that doesn't disqualify. All you need to be is a citizen and 35 years old to be the president. I mean, I think there's another requirement. You guys type in the chat of what the requirements are, but I mean, she was just like a total B to Vivek Ramaswamy for literally no reason. And I don't know why the hate, where all the hate was coming from. Maybe because he's a Republican. Maybe that's from it. But it seemed like she really did not like him as a person. And she kept on reiterating, "Oh, I'm just asking questions because this is what I asked all the other candidates and liberal, and I'm not affiliated with no political party." But it's like the and this is going back to my point. Black people have, and this is some Black people, I don't want to put everybody in a bucket. Some Black people have a hatred towards other races. And I don't know where that comes from. But we'll watch this interaction. Now, this first take is Charlamagne the God saying something about, hey, America has failed Black people. And we'll look at that. And I'm going to interject because I don't want to get a copyright strike or anything like that or demonetized. So let's take a look.
Access to TikTok or other social media. That's a problem. So I think we have a crisis of national pride.
Whose fault is that, though? That's America's fault. That's the system's fault for constantly failing the people.
Well, you know, I see it. I see it less about. We can allocate the blame. We can talk about allocating the blame. I think there's blame to go around. I think it's up to all of us to take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what is that vacuum in our heart? It's an old saying that goes, if there's a hole the size of God in your heart and God does not fill it, something else will instead. I think the same applies for belief in a nation as well. So I think what's going on is we're human beings. What makes us different from animals is that we can believe. We need to believe in something bigger than ourselves. And when we lose God and family and country, we start believing in new false gods instead.
And you guys, before he was saying, and now I want to get you up to speed. Charlamagne was saying, okay, that's American fault because Vivek Ramaswamy mentioned that children or young adults today will rather give up their voting rights than give up TikTok and Facebook or whatever. And it's like they lost faith in this country. And Charlamagne replies, oh, that's just America's fault. So that's where this is coming from.
That's what's going on in the country. And so I don't know that it's so much a question of fault, but more a question of how do we actually revive our sense of self-confidence and pride.
It's definitely a question of fault. I can absolutely blame white supremacy, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
See, say more, and then I'll respond to that.
I mean, just look at the history of the country. Like, it's really just that simple for me. The country has never fulfilled its promises of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. It's always been freedom, liberty, and justice for some. And usually that some is white people.
So here's what I would say in response to that. That is obviously true that the nation has fallen short of our promise since our founding. But walk through some obvious facts about America. We're not founded on an ethnicity or a monarch or a food or even a religion. We're founded on a set of ideals that brought a group of people together in 1776, and we live by those ideals. At least we aspire to those ideals today. A nation that aspires to ideals that's not made up of gods, but made up of human beings, will always fall short of those ideals. So I think our worst hypocrisies as a country, and we have many of them, our worst hypocrisies are our best evidence that we have ideals at all. You take a look at other countries. Nobody ever calls the Chinese Communist Party a hypocrite, or China a hypocrite, or Iran a hypocrite. Why is that? Because to be a hypocrite, you at least had to have ideals in the first.
And he's absolutely right. And you know what? Not to Charlamagne, you know, I think he's a very intellectual person, and I'm not to knock him of what he believes to that he thinks is true. But really, if we really people that cries white supremacy, hold on for just a second. My kids are kind of loud. So people that cries white supremacy, people that cry white supremacy on media, I find it that they're the ones that's like uber successful, and these are black people. The black people that cries white supremacy or a liberty and justice for all, fair equal treatment, they're saying that no, there is no fair equal treatment. But those are the ones that like in the top 0.1% of earners, or as far as their career goes, they're like way on top, like very like I think he was a bestseller writer, Charlamagne, on the New York Times. He had a best-selling book. I don't know how long it stayed bestseller, but like if he authored 2 books and they were all bestsellers, so and he's saying that, oh, white supremacy exists and it's not equal justice for all. But what are you? Oh, I'm the most extreme cases, or I'm not the norm. And it's like really crazy that you really think that. Let me show you this. Charlamagne, let me see if I can find it. Charlamagne is actually a co-founder of the Heart Network, iHeart Media. He's named as one of the co-founders or co-chairs. He makes over $3 million a year. That's in profit just off of the Breakfast Club. That's his deal. He got a five-year contract. He makes $3 million a year. He has a net worth of $27 million. So it's like, okay, you're saying that this white supremacy failed us, and you're talking about, I could see as a nation, but when does it not be white supremacy fault? When is it our own? When is it like, oh, we need to take the charge and lead our own destiny? Are we going to blame the government for everything? Okay, and we're saying the government failed us. And you guys, I'm going to get back to the video, but I just want to land this point. You said the government failed us, but the government is not your mama or daddy. You could be mad. You could be mad at your mama and daddy for a long time because your mama and daddy failed you. But after your mama and daddy, after 18, maybe 21, maybe you'll hold that grudge to 25. What are you doing for yourself and your people? Are you going to keep on blaming someone else for your own demise? When does it stop? When do you stop blaming someone else for your problems? Or since I'm talking about the Black community, our problems. When are you going to stop doing that? And so, yeah, ministry before industry, America's fault. Yes, in the past. And that's exactly what I want to hit home. Yes, it was America's fault. We didn't get our 40 acres in the meal. Okay. We wasn't going to get it anyway. That was our ancestors were supposed to get that. If you're from, if you actually was a descendant of slaves, if they were on a slave ship, and they survived that passage, yeah, that and it was a lot of atrocities throughout American history. But when are you going to say, hey, I lead the charge? This is my problem. This is something I have to fix, or even not fix, something I have to get better in. When are we going to say that? Instead of saying, oh, white supremacy is holding us back at every single turn. I just hate that narrative, and we need to get out of that, because we're going to end up the same spot. We're going to look up 40 years from now, and we're going to be in the same shithole that we're in right now. We got to learn to stop doing that. You know, the government is not your mama and daddy. They don't owe you shit. I'm sorry. And we don't take the vaccine, and I'm talking about Black people. We got so much distrust for the government. Why would you think the government would save you? I just don't understand that. Like yesterday, I did mention, you know, they took the affirmative action. You can no longer use race in determination of getting qualified for college or admitted for college. And I mentioned Harvard University. They have a Black woman president over Harvard. Harvard University, the prestigious school of America, probably in one of the world. And we're saying white supremacy is holding us back at every single turn. That doesn't make sense to me. So, but Charlamagne the God in the news media and all these Black news personalities want you to think that, oh, white supremacy is holding you back. And why do they do that? Because that's who they pay them to do that. You got to have some type of narrative to keep you watching and say, oh yeah, I agree with you, because I agree with victimization. I'm a victim. And when are we going to stop that? And because Charlamagne, he's going to go to his big ass house making $3 million a year. I don't know nobody that make $3 million a year. I mean, I met a couple of people that's doing well, but a Black man making $3 million a year, I don't know nobody doing that. You know, you got to be something special to do that. So, but he's telling you, no, white supremacy is holding you down. But he makes $3 million a year. I don't understand that. And we're sitting there listening. Oh yeah, white supremacy. It's just totally ridiculous. But Vivek Ramaswamy, he had a good response to that. So I'm just gonna play him. So, and Charlamagne, I think he conceded he wants to change the system, but you just got to stop with this white supremacy stuff. And the system, like I said, the system is the government. The system is not going to save you. You got to save yourself. Create your own system. We as Black people, we could create our own system, and we have the dollar. We have the dollar to create our own system, but we need to spend our dollar where it counts. We can't just say, create a new system, blah, 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 and keep on buying stuff like Jordans or, okay, Jordans or Cadillac trucks, you know, stuff that depreciate. And I'm laughing because I was just looking at a Cadillac truck and I was like, no, my husband was like, no, you're not going to drive that big old truck. But like I said, we need to invest in things that will really count to actually build up our system. So that was one thing that really irritated about this interview. Charlamagne talking about white supremacy and the system and all that stuff is like, okay, get over it. Let's move forward. And you make $3 million a year, dude, and a net worth of $27 million a year. Who doing that? So this next portion is where the girl, I can't think of her name, but she was questioning him about Vivek Ramaswamy about civic duty. And I'm going to get to some of your chats in a few seconds. Let me just play a couple of minutes of this, or just a minute. Taz.
So how do we think big about this? Well, young people, as I told you, most of them, very few of them vote as it stands today. Super small numbers. And apparently 60% of them say they would rather give up their right to vote than give up TikTok. Well, I say, all right, let's take that to the next level. How about we do something that raises the voting age from 18 to 25, but you still get to vote at 18 if you just pass that same civics test that an immigrant has to pass in order to vote. And tests aren't for everybody, so be it. Then you at least serve in the military or a first responder role for 6 months. That's my civic duty voting proposal. And the reason is, I'll actually make a prediction. I think youth voting in this country will skyrocket. After from a very low level right now, it will skyrocket because you value something you actually have to earn. And I think that this is not a left-wing or right-wing point. We all have duties as citizens, right? You know, we aspire to free market capitalism, right? Materialist advance. And that's the life I've lived as well, by the way. My parents came to this country with not a lot of money. I've lived the American dream. I've made a lot of money by building businesses. That's one side of what it means to be an American. But part of it is we also have duties to this country. And I think the more we wake that up, actually, the voting age only became 18 in 1971 in the context of the Vietnam draft. So I just think reviving those ideas is going to be good for us.
So let's prove your point. Nick, our camera guy, do you know the 3 branches of the federal government?
Over 24, so it don't matter.
But I'm just saying, but nobody knows there are 24. Red, do you know the 3 branches?
Executive.
Well, I got a test. I would like to see if you're willing to pass.
This is where she get really disrespectful in her interview. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, I want to ask you questions because I want to see your viewpoint. I think that civic duty question was a very valid question. I was questioning where he get, okay, we're going to take people voters' rights away. And now that he explained it, or I actually listened to what he was talking about, I kind of do agree with some of his sentiments, because you're trying to elect these officials or leaders, and you don't even know the 3 branches of government, or you really don't know what you're voting for, you know? So, but I do have a rebuttal. So if you're going to take that away, you can't force people to sign up for the draft, but he does get into that. He was saying that men shouldn't be forced to sign up for the draft, you know, so that's his concept. So if you're going to take a right away, like voting rights away, you can't just say, hey, you got to serve your country, you know, or put your name on the paper to sign up for the draft. So you can't do, I think that's really not fair to a person. Hey, I got to lay my life on the line, but I can't vote, you know, or I got to sign up to lay my life on the line, but I can't vote. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, but he does address that. This is where she gets off the rail and get very disrespectful and like an angry black woman. The typical angry black woman, like you got a damn attitude. And what's the attitude about?
Because I believe in, just as you believe in civic engagement, I believe in changing the ideas of what political opponents look like, what they should look like, or political candidates. Are you willing to take a test with me quickly? Because I just have a couple of questions for you.
I will, absolutely.
So
and the way this is opening up, I have a feeling I'm about to fail it, but that's good. Let's do it.
That's right, yeah. So just for clarity, I am independent. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. Cool. I think that's important for the premise of the argument, because I know you did a lot of debating at Harvard. It's also, I also want to make it clear these are the same questions that I asked liberal Democrat Marianne Williamson. So I want to make sure that we put that out there as well, just to kind of set the foundation.
I'm open to being humbled. Let's do this.
Okay, great. Let's go. So you mentioned, the pride of being an American and how important it is to have pride in this country. I'm also a veteran, by the way, for the United States Air Force. So when is it that you voted for the first time?
I voted in 2020. Okay,
so you're how old again?
I'm 37 years old.
So for how many years you sat around and did not get involved at all in any civic engagement? Is that my?
This is what I have a problem with. A lot of people don't vote. So why are you making that a requirement? A lot of your black friends don't vote. Women tend to vote more than men, especially black women. We tend to vote way more than men. So, but you gonna make that a requirement on him? That doesn't make any sense to me.
My understanding?
A long time is the answer. And actually, I mean, that's what I wrote this book about. I'm not holding myself out as some sort of model. I'm actually offering myself as a self-reflection of my journey as a citizen, to whom this country has given much, right? As an adult, when you have kids, it changes your perspectives. I'm very honest about that. Absolutely.
Okay, no problem. So let's go deeper into the self-reflection. So you've sat around for, and sir, I'm being as respectful as I possibly can. Please don't.
You're not being respectful. You're talking about, oh, you sat around for years. And this is what this black woman, I know she ain't married. She talks to black men like that. You sat around and you not did nothing for years. And you sat around and did nothing. You just twiddle your thumbs. This is what black men get when they talking to a black woman. Let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me know if I'm wrong. This same type of tone men get with black women because they don't like you. Off rip. They don't like you off rip.
Don't take anything
and you don't even have to be. And you don't even have to be. So take it off and let's go.
So you've been sitting around in the country that my ancestors built for about 20 years. Your parents came over as immigrants, brought you over. You made millions, according to your resume, off of this country. And you have absolutely not been involved in civics. One, not voting. And two, let me just ask, because I know you mentioned earlier, you don't want to sit around at the debate and talk about accomplishments. Let's make the accomplishments pretty simple. In high school, were you ever a class president or take any leadership role? Because your opponent did, Chris.
I don't even have no words for this, because like I said, I could see this same woman, just for say, for instance, she was dating or she was married with a man and that was less than her. You know, her family was less than her. Oh, you sitting around in my mama's house and you've been laying up rent-free, eating all our food for years. And a man, and I'm saying in general, a man down on his luck. Just, oh, this is my house. This is what I get from her. This is my house. And if I'm on the note, you see what I'm saying? This is what I get from her. You sat around for years in where my people built this country. And if you probably check her lineage, she probably ain't even from. She probably 30, 40% white. So what are you talking about? You saying that your people built. How we know? Because she looked mixed. he has a great, Vivek Ramaswamy has a great response. I love that he held his composure because, like I said, this is the typical angry Black woman. And I could just imagine the man that she date. If the man falls short and she date, you just imagine how she downgrades him instead of lifting him up, because he down on his luck. Oh, you sat around for years. That my people built in my country. You got rich off of my country. And he was born here. It's like so ridiculous.
He was the class president. So
Yeah, I
have you
did.
ever
I mean,
taken any leadership at all on
I have-
anything or just?
Can I just correct a couple factual things that are kind of important? My parents didn't bring me over to the country. I was born in
scratch
this
that off
country, and
then.
I'm proud
No,
of that.
I know you were born here in Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio.
You mentioned my
I'm
parents
saying your
brought me
parents
o-
were immigrants.
You said-
My apologies.
That's all right. You said your parents brought you over to this country. I
Yeah,
thought I
my
would set that
apologies.
record straight.
I mean, they were immigrants, but let's
They
not
were
go down the
immigrants.
water
Oh,
hole.
no, we're not going to water. I just want to correct a couple facts. And then the other thing is,
You were born here in Ohio,
I was
correct?
born in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's right.
Right. So
Yeah.
you've been here your entire life. So the question
That's
is,
right.
did you take any leadership role in middle school, high school, class president?
I did,
I know
yeah.
you played tennis. What is it? Explain it to us.
Student council. But I think that this is yes, I've held leadership roles over my life, but those don't qualify me to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
That's
it kind of
just-
does.
Okay,
well, it
well,
kind of does. Well, I'm giving the test. I'm the test
Okay,
administrator.
all right, there you go.
So it kind of does, because when you go from saying I want to go to the highest office,
And I'll tell
of
you,
the land-
I've led companies as well. Is the other leader?
Right,
The
well,
main leadership
right,
role
but-
I played is, and I want to talk about one early part of your premise that I also want to say, to bring it to the country point. The other point, you use the word sitting around. I'm not somebody who's saying I want the next generation, my kids' generation, to have more civic duties when they graduate from high school and college than I did when I did. That being said, I wasn't sitting around. I've developed medicines, 5 of which are FDA-approved products today, one of which is a life-saving therapy in kids, 20 of whom die by the age of 3 if they're not treated, 70% of whom now live lives of a normal duration. Another one for prostate cancer. So I don't apologize
excuse
for
me,
making
sir.
contributions. But
right. Well, I don't want you to.
And with Black women, that's not enough. You develop medicine for cancer, and you're curing AIDS, and you're curing the hunger. That's not enough civic duty for her. You still don't have the requirement to be president. That's just ridiculous to me. We got to do better, people. We have to do better. I hopefully you guys, I think somebody said we lost your audio, but we got to do better. Okay, you can hear me. I see it. We have to do better. Like he's curing cancer. And you're saying, oh, you just did that for the money. No, I didn't, because I probably had to go in a bunch of student debt or bunch of debt just to actually get the medicine manufactured, or chemists do the research. That's millions of dollars. And you're saying, oh, you just did it for the money. No, how about because I want to cure cancer? How about that? It's not enough, because he sat around and not did anything. He didn't vote when he turned 18. That's not enough. You was a class president. Who gives a shit if you was class president? Like, there's many of people or presidents that didn't serve their country before they was a president. They didn't enlist into the military. Some of them probably have a political background, but back in the day, no. A lot of them just came off and said, oh, I was inspired to do this. Some of them was lawyers and was inspired to run for president. So I don't know where she got that from. You have to be a civic duty person to run for president. I don't know where that's coming from. That's her opinion. Maybe because she served in the military. I'm not for sure.
To filibuster that,
No worries.
because
Just
that's not the
sitting-
question that I asked, and I don't consider, as a veteran, I'm talking about service. I'm not talking about what you
Civic
did for
service,
profit. I'm not talking about what you paid people to do with
Yeah,
your
so I
company.
have
I'm
not
talking
served-
about
I have not
that,
served the country
because that
in the way
means
you have.
nothing to me.
You do
What I'm
realize
talking,
she
what
hasn't
I
been
am,
able to ask a question. She's been trying to
Go
ask
for
a
it,
question,
yeah.
and you've been talking over her.
I'm all ears.
And he's wrong. Look, I forget what his name is. DJ Envy, he's conservative, and he know he is. He believes in capitalism, and he know he does. But you're trying to keep your job and pander to this woman that's being very disrespectful because he didn't do any civic service. Is that really important? We didn't know about Obama until, like, we didn't even know he was a senator. He was a senator for about 1 or 2 years before he got elected to presidency. What was he doing before then? We don't know.
We gave you the platform to let you say
Seems
what
a
you
little
said.
defensive.
I'm all ears. No, I was just correcting a couple
She hasn't had a chance
facts.
to
That's
ask a
all.
question yet. Every
Go
time
ahead,
she
Ted,
tries
ask
to
the
ask a
question.
question, you've been cutting her off. Go ahead,
I'm
Ted.
all ears.
Right. So your question again is, you're trying to, your goal is to raise the standard, and you're saying you want people to believe in country and you want people to have civic engagement. And sir, I just find it very telling that you haven't had any civic engagement at all and haven't been at all. And when I say sit around, I don't mean you haven't done anything. I'm talking about in regards to service, because one thing about political office, the same way that you want to change how people look at politics and look at this country, I want to change how people look at politicians.
And you're absolutely wrong. Service, they still get paid. These politicians getting paid. So are you saying service is volunteering, getting low pay? I don't understand where she's coming from. I really don't understand where she's coming from and why she's beating on this civil service. Like, because that's no requirement in, oh, you got to have 20 hours of community service to run for presidency. And that doesn't even make no sense. And I'm pretty sure he does a lot of charity work and all that good stuff.
And when I see that someone hasn't did anything at all to be of service to mankind, to take a leadership role, it's not good enough to just be on city student council. Were you a leader? All of that applies. Have you been able to get anybody in the room at any time, from a high school gymnasium to Ohio, Republican leadership there to now? Have you been able to get anybody in a room to believe in this vision? I don't agree with a lot of your vision statement, but I do know you've been going around having these discussions and getting everybody emotionally worked up to talk about vision and debate. But I want to get to the practical. You're trying to go from preschool to president of the United States. You're skipping over city council, county council, mayor.
That is not a requirement, woman. What city councilman becomes president? No, that's local government. Okay. You don't see no city councilman, and let me know, put it in the chat. Name a president that was a city councilman. Name one. We're talking about the country. We're talking about leading the country. You literally have to be a CEO of a country because America is a business. You got to be a CEO of a country because it has a lot of moving parts. City council is not a requirement. Matter of fact, I probably wouldn't elect a city council because they're tunnel vision. You need somebody with the world view in mind. But you're saying, oh, you got to walk before you crawl, but that's not a requirement. That's your requirement is not the world requirement. And that's why they didn't make a requirement for you to run for city councilman or being part of the political action committee. That's not a requirement. That's your requirement. And like I said, she's a typical angry Black woman because it's never enough. He just said he made millions developing medicine, or he developed medicine and potentially made millions of dollars in running pharmaceutical companies. Okay, wouldn't you have a world view on that? Because you could sell your medicine to different countries, and you're managing people and processes. You had to get people on board for your vision. So, and another thing, since I'm a business owner, it doesn't matter if your vision is profit. If you can't sell people to your vision, it's not going to make profit. So it doesn't matter what your vision is. It doesn't matter. If you can't sell people to your vision, whether it be profit or making the world medicine or whatever the case may be, you're not a great leader. So apparently he's a good leader because he was able to see his vision through. So I don't think her questions are justifiable. And like I said, you know, an angry Black woman is never going to be enough. Now she's putting another requirement just because he's Indian. And it goes back to my other point. Why do we have a disdain for other races? Like, we just hate them. Because this man is successful, is that why you hate him? Because you didn't think of the idea? You don't believe in capitalism? You thought he should have signed up for the army, and he had to sign up for the military service, but there was no draft. But what's the problem? Let me get to some of your chats. I mean, I don't see the problem in what is she getting at? We have to continue to speak out against this behavior in the Black community. We do. This is asinine. That's from Johnny G. Wells. We or Johnny J. Wells. We got to speak out because this doesn't make any sense. Now you're making another requirement for somebody to run for president. And you're so blatantly disrespectful to a person. It doesn't matter if he's liberal or whatever. You're mad because he's a successful businessman and he decided, oh, let me run for president. Just like Donald J. Trump did. Oh, I accomplished all this work. Let me run for president. That's what most successful people do. They take on challenges. Okay, how can I reach to the next level? And civil service, okay, you know, you're not going to be paid what presidency is like $200,000 a year, $260,000 a year. That's not enough money to run the damn country. So you're basically in civil service. You're running the country. The amount of headache and stress is running the country. So you're disrespecting him because he's, number one, a Republican, and he has a broader vision in life. He don't believe in white supremacy. He wants to bring people together, but instead you want to divide people because he didn't run for class president in high school. In high school, he didn't run for class president. He developed medicine to cure cancer, but that's not enough. No, to me, it's just ridiculous. I thought Cardi B interviewing was the lowest we could get than this. I didn't see the Cardi B interview, but yeah. She was an Air Force reservist, acting as she served acting in the NFL. I don't know nothing about her, so yeah. So I served like she was on the front line, like she did some silver duty. You probably go knock next door to her if you live next door to her, ask her for some bread and some butter. She probably be like, nigga, get off my porch before I call the cops. She probably looked down on people. Like I said, the way she talked down to him, just imagine being in a relationship with her. That's probably how she talked down to Black men. That's if she's in a relationship with a Black man. But just imagine that. Oh, you living off my parents in my house. And my parents bought this house. This is my house. You ain't paid no rent in this house. Your name ain't on the mortgage. That's not enough. Like, baby, I paid the utility bills and I paid the taxes this year. That's not enough. That's not enough. Because you got this angry Black woman mad. Share P said, you're spot on. The female was so embarrassing, very embarrassing. Patriotism is not the main reason people serve. Financial benefits are the main reason. This is Redshift. You're absolutely, look, Redshift, you hit it on the hammer on the nail. Watch her eyes. So much hostility and even hate shines through her. So much hostility, so much hate. I don't understand where is she coming from? Why does she hate so much? Why is she giving this man? He just decided, okay, he opened himself up for questioning. I think he was in a good sport about it. He wasn't trying to hide anything. And she said, oh no, you haven't ran for a local president. You didn't serve on the city council. I mean, who does that? What president served on the city council? Let me know. I don't know, not one person. Anyway, let's see if we could get through this, because it was a lot.
Here, governor, you want to go straight to the top. So my question is, this a PR? Is this for the PR, the perception of reality, or can you point to any leadership where you've been able to get people to believe in what you're talking about that they're not paid to do on any of these vision statements that you have? If not, then to me, it's a moot point, because you're telling.
Yes. Hey, I'm on a political campaign. I'm trying to get people to know me. Yes, it's political. It's public relations. Okay, you're saying perception to reality. Yes, I'm on the campaign, woman. Yeah, I'm trying to get people to believe in me. Yeah, I've ran several companies. They believed in my vision. Normally, you don't hire people if you don't get the feel that they believe in your vision. You're not going to hire them, whether they paid or not. Does she get that?
You're holding a standard that you haven't met yourself.
So
I think he's met it, but I think she's moving the bar to some other standard that's just not in reality. She's actually giving me a headache. Actually, this is like literally my first time going through the whole entire video. I made some inserts of points that I wanted to point out, but like she's just playing it through. I got a headache just for listening to her.
If you're only going to count government service, you're absolutely
no, not government
right.
service.
Okay.
Student council in the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th. Were you a leader? Did you do anything to rally anybody? Did you fight for better lunch? I did in the 6th grade with Miss Harris.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about government. I can go all.
He's going to say, yes, I ran for student council, but it's not valid. But she still discounts that too. Watch it.
The way back from the 5th grade every year, sir, because people who are in service to this country, if you're going to go around saying you want people to believe in this country that I signed up to die for, then I want to make sure that you're holding that same standard. So not government, not political. Let's not get it confused. Yeah. I'm saying, have you did anything of service that we can point to say he is a good leader, like Chris? And I'm not even a fan of Chris Christie, but he was the student council president in high school. So have you done anything of service besides yourself that has not benefited yourself? It's just a simple question.
Student council in high school is a popularity contest. You get people, oh, he's my friend, let me vote for him. They don't care about what you're talking about in high school. Oh, he's cute, let me vote for him. Popularity contest. We're talking about real issues beyond high school.
So the acts of service that I have performed are small, so small that I don't even want to talk about them to boast. But yes, have I volunteered for this country? Yes, I have. I've always
So
been
like,
interested
well,
in
let's talk
healthcare.
about it. It's okay to talk about the
Bethesda
small
North, I mean,
things. I think
these
that
are small
matters.
things, right? But thank you.
No, well, just let's just mention
so
Bethesda
Bethesda
North.
North
So
Hospital.
it's really a no?
No, it's not a no. It's just something I don't like boasting about. I
Well, we're
volunteered.
not boasting.
Yeah,
It's an
so
interview.
there
You're
we go.
boasting on your vision and
Look,
everything else.
I think
You
one of the
boasted on the
things-
millions of dollars that you made. So let's just throw it out. So in
I
sixth
actually
grade, I'll give
didn't.
you an example. I'll help you out. In sixth grade, Miss
I'll
Harrison,
tell you-
Miss
She busting on $1 million that you made. Like, come on now. Why are you doing this? Why is she doing this? Like I said, the hate, that's nothing but hatred for somebody to do that. Because he didn't even deserve that. You mad because he's successful. Is that the reason? I'm trying to pinpoint the reason. Why is she mad, so angry at him?
Harris was let me give you an example because maybe you're confused. In the sixth grade, Miss Harris was snatching papers from everybody in the classroom. So me as a 10-year-old, I went to the principal and said, I'm tired of Miss Harris snatching papers. And I organized the students around getting Miss Harris to stop snatching papers. Now there was a consequence for that. I got suspended for 5 days for talking back, and I got in trouble. I got a spanking, and I was on punishment for months and months. But that is a simple way of organizing people. So I want you to kind of boast about it the way you did the millions of dollars and said what you did with the pharmaceutical companies. What leadership can you point to that you've been able to rally anybody around anything that is of service that you did not pay anybody to do? I think that's important for the next president of the United States.
Sure. So I've always been drawn to healthcare. That's why I ended up founding companies in that space. When I was in high school, part of what drew me into it was that I was a volunteer at a local hospital. I actually became the leader of that group of volunteers that actually discharged women who had recently given birth. That was it. Nothing big to it.
Did you do anything we can point to stand
But,
out?
but I want to say something about that.
Well, he said he was over the volunteer group. Now you want him to do, oh, did you do more? Like you just asked me, did I do any civil service? Yeah, I volunteered, but I didn't think this is significant to being the president because I coordinated the volunteer community. What is your problem, woman? Does anybody let me know in the chat? What is this woman's problem?
Because I say that in the book. If I'm being really honest, why did I do that in high school? A part of the motivation, I'll be just brutally honest with you, was part of the motivation was that's actually what allows you to get into a good college when you graduate.
Right. So it was about you.
So there was about self. So there's and I'm admitting that in a way that very few other people do. But I got to be honest about it. That was a big part of why I did it.
Yeah, it was about self, and I'm going to be honest. And I'm going to give it back to the guys. I'm going to be honest about it with you.
Yep.
Leadership is not about self.
I agree with you on that.
What I just heard is that everything is about you. And to be honest with you, this is just a PR campaign, sir. To be honest with you, and I think you're trying to go further to the right because you want the Republicans to accept you as a man of color. And I think the only way you think you can do that is to be so extreme.
I appreciate your opinion.
with your positions. And I think you need to do a little bit more work in service. I'll give it back to you guys.
Let me ask, because she did ask me a question, and then you guys said you wanted to hear a response, but I think I heard an expression of.
To me, she disgusts me. This is very distasteful, and I don't understand why she was so harping on civil service because that is not a requirement for the United States. And I think, when you become the president, you're not doing stuff for profit, really. You're not really making any money. Maybe you have some connections or something like that, but are you really making money being the president? You have several pharmaceutical companies that's probably making millions and billions of dollars a year. I don't know what Vivek Ramaswamy's net worth is, but we're talking about running the country. And why would this be? And I look, to get on her point. Okay, I could see someone, for their own gain, their own whatever. But we're not talking about Bill Gates. We don't know this man from the can of paint. Like, is he a Bill Gates? Now, if we say Bill Gates or what's the guy who funded Black Lives Matter, if they run, or even the other guy that was running for their own Wall Street Journal, I think it was Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post, we could say, okay, they have some type of motivation behind it. But this guy, let me know. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. I don't see where he could benefit from running for president, and he's already at some type of financial success. He's only 37. What's the point? He's only 37. Now, Bill Gates and all these other people, I could see they're older. Maybe they wanted, like Bill Gates, he's trying to stop meat production and stop farming. I could see him running for president and her having this type of commentary toward or questions toward that, Bill Gates or somebody like that. But him is like, you didn't run, you volunteered and you didn't run for city council. So you're all about self. I don't know where she got that from. I really don't know. And developing medicine, I don't think that's a selfless act either. Because if you actually if you bought into the company, okay, yeah, selfless act. But if you was actually on the groundbreaking and research development and all that stuff, there's a lot of money and time going into that. So what are you talking about?
Of opinion. So just, I want to make sure you're all done before I respond to it.
No, just wanted to say that even then, I would still want you to point out, even at the hospital, something that you did that made you stand out on when actually taking a leadership role. But you already answered it. You said you did it because it was a motivation to get in college.
Exactly.
Which means
and
it was
I'm being
about
very
you.
honest about that. But
everything has been about you. So as a veteran,
let me tell you something. I appreciate
it's very hard for me to follow leaders that make everything about them. So you might want to work on that because it's a lot of veterans and Republicans. So you might want to work on that talking point and maybe do some volunteering while you're on the campaign trail. I'm going to give it back to Charlamagne and Envy.
Yeah. Once I want to be respectful. Want to make sure you got everything you wanted to on the table before I
I
respond.
if this was just us, it'd be a lot.
You guys tell me. I'm the guest on your show. You tell me when I'm good to speak.
Go ahead.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
You sure about that? If we're good.
Yeah, we're sure.
So I think there's a different worldview that we have. And I think the worldview is how one actually makes contributions in a country. I do not believe that there's a separate category of just if you're serving the country and then if you're acting in self-interest, that's somehow sinful or wrong. I reject that vision. To the contrary, I think capitalism is the best system known to man to lift people up from poverty. I deeply respect and I thank you for your service to this country. I'm grateful for it. I haven't served the country in the way that you have. But I think that the way you get ahead in capitalism, how did I develop a multi-billion-dollar biotech company? It was by developing medicines that save people's lives.
A lot of people say capitalism causes poverty.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree with that. I think that capitalism demands that you provide something to someone that helps them more than you're actually charging them for it. That's the only way.
That's a business model, sir. That's not
a business
service.
Model. I'm not saying
that's not service.
I'm saying it's having an impact on society.
An elected official is service. That's the
And you're getting it confused. America is a business. United States is a business. It's a corporation. And you serve your country, but you don't even know what America is. America is a corporation. You have to use a business model with America. And I would like to think that more business people, successful CEO owners, are more capable of running the country than somebody just, I was elected for the class presidency. Oh, I was on the city council. I would like to think in my head, this man will probably run the country better than Joe Biden. Holler at me if I'm wrong. Because America is a business, is a corporation. And she's keep on harping on civil service. And I have to look up, of the last 46 or 47 presidents, how many of them was Mother Teresa? How many of them served in the military? How many of them was police officers? We're talking about civil service, nurses, police officers, doctors. Most of them are businessmen, lawyers. Some of them are senators. But we're talking about running a country, which is a business. And you're to keep on talking about civil service. which doesn't make any sense. That doesn't qualify you for running the country. You making your own qualifications on up. Robert Jordan says she should ask the question, if you were elected president, this is a good question, Robert, what would you do to help turn around the Black community to make them feel safe and be productive citizens? That's an excellent question. Why did she ask that? But she's harping on if he ran for class president back in 2000. Like, oh, man. Oh, I ran for class president. Who gives a shit if you ran for class president? Who cares? And the man said, oh, I developed medicine. We help cure prostate cancer and all these other type of drugs. But that wasn't enough. He cured cancer. That wasn't enough. I developed multi-million-dollar companies. And people literally, so for you to develop multi-million-dollar, it's not one person. You have to get people to get riled up for your vision, you know, and execute your vision. For you to develop a company that big, but that's not enough. This is not enough for her. This lady right here, and look at her face. I froze it at the right spot. You've been living in this country and not living off my parents and not doing enough. Just taking the back seat. You ain't been doing nothing for the last 37 years you've been in America. What have you done to Lisa, what's her name? Tezelyn Figuro. What have you done? What medicine have you developed? What bread have you passed out? Have you volunteered? You got mad because somebody snatched your paper. This is what she said in grade school. Somebody snatched her paper. The teacher snatched her paper, so you got mad. You got mad about that? That wasn't life-changing. Oh, she was snatching our papers. Like, come on. And she looking like this. I'm telling you that this is the angry Black woman right here. Ryan said she lost the debate the minute she said his parents brought him over. Yeah, you didn't even do your research. You thinking he's an immigrant, and no, he's a born American. He was born here. He has every right to be here just as you. Just because you a descendant of slaves, quote unquote, because we don't really know. You said served in the military, and somebody put in here, no, she was on a reservist list. So you really didn't serve. I mean, I'm not going to discount that you were on the reservist list because it probably took you something to sign up for that. You know, you got to train 3 weeks out of the year. Okay, I'm not going to take that away from you, but you're acting like you on the front lines. Come on now. And you're trying to take away what he did to society for society, and it doesn't matter. She's coming off as if she may have some kind of personal rift against him. Yeah, and that's what I said. Like, does she know him? Like, that's how she's coming off. Like, she really doesn't like this man. Like, did she remember him in grade school or something? I don't know. And she's talking like she really knows this man, or she hates him. Redshift, she got a kick by taking on a billionaire. She was proud and connecting a few hours after this was up. She basically proudly said, dude was not responding, so I pressed him. No, you pressed wrong. Like, like I said, this is the typical angry Black woman. And I hate to say it because I'm a Black woman. I can't imagine just being like, you got my food wrong. Just imagine her arguing with the waiter or waitresses. So you got my food wrong. Well, you shouldn't have took all day to get, but the waitress or the waiter is not the cook. It seemed like she's that type of person that she would just kick you while you're down. Or let me just stomp on your face. That's how she seems. I want to stomp on your face. Not even, oh, you're up here. Let me just put you down here, put you in your place. I don't know why Black women do this. I'm going to put you in your place. Like you're so much better than another person. Or just try to be kind and humble to other people. He was treating her with respect, and she couldn't even reciprocate that respect to him. Because let's get back to CJ's comment. She's coming off as she knows him. She has a personal rift against him. It's so sad. LS says, I'm Indian from India. This anchor who asked questions were too immature, very immature. High school leader. Right. She says she spanked and punished for months for ganging up against teachers in the 6th grade till date she considered it as a leadership act. Right. You are rebelling against because the teacher supposedly snatched your papers. We don't know. In her mind, maybe it was snatching, but you think that was an act of leadership. Like, come on now. No, it wasn't. You didn't rile people up. What leadership position have you served? None whatsoever. Just running off your mouth. You just talking and trying to shit on people's dreams. Saying, oh, you're not enough. Oh, it doesn't matter if you develop medicine. You're not enough. You're not capable of serving presidency because you didn't run for city council. Who says that? Oh, at least Governor Christie served city council, but he was the governor. Not, it's like she could have made that comparison. Oh, he was the governor. Governor Christie he was the governor of New Jersey or something like that. Oh, he was the governor. She could have made that comparison, but she didn't. She went all the way back to high school. It's like, who does that? I don't understand.
That's right. So now I'm moving on to there are phases of our lives where we do different things.
Well, you're moving straight all the way up to President of the United States.
I don't view it as a hierarchy. I don't view it as a hierarchy. I don't believe in hierarchies. The hierarchy is the way the bureaucracy works. I don't believe in so we have a difference in opinion.
You also don't believe in service, and that's where we're having a disconnect.
Well, I disagree with you on that. I just disagree with you on that.
I think it's whack that you're proposing to revoke voting rights for 18 to 24-year-olds unless they meet certain qualifications, but you never exercise your rights.
Well, most young people don't, is the whole point. So, Charlamagne, let me ask you a question. Do you think
the largest voter turnouts have been over the last couple of elections?
They still voted at a very low rate. But let me ask you a question. What do you think about high school students being required to pass the civics test? What's your perspective on that?
The one that you proposed?
The one that every immigrant has to pass in order to enter the country. If every high school student has to pass that before they graduate, what's your take on that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay, good. Now let me tell you something about the law as it exists today. Men in this country, not women, but men are required by law to register with the Selective Service, age 18 to 25. That's the draft. We don't have a draft, but men have to register. If you don't, they put you in prison. At least they can. It's a criminal offense if you don't. My view is I would decriminalize that. I don't like the government telling you what you can and cannot do. That's not the American way. But if you want to enjoy the civic privilege of voting, then I think it is perfectly legitimate to say you have to at least know something about the country or have served that country, one or the other. Absolutely. Now, I think that what do we actually care about, right? We can do the personal attack thing.
I like I said, I think, that's a stretch. I do believe you should be knowing something about your country before you start voting. But if you're raising the legal age requirements, you got to do away with something You can't just say, oh, I got to sign up for the military and I don't have the right to vote, whether if I know 3 branches of government and blah, blah, blah. So that's a stretch. I do not particularly agree with that. I see where he's coming from, but moving forward.
We care
It's
about
not
the country.
personal attacks,
We
sir.
care about the
Voting is the
country.
cornerstone of democracy, though.
Voting is the
That
cornerstone
you
of
didn't
democracy.
exercise.
I have
Well,
not.
sir,
Yeah,
excuse
that's
me.
right. And you know, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's different.
But most people, and especially young people, and particularly Black men, they don't vote. They don't vote. Most young people and Black men, they don't vote. Some Black men can't vote because their rights was taken away because probably the injustice of the political system or prison system. Maybe they got a felony or something. In some states you can't vote. So I see where Vivek Ramaswamy is trying to get more younger adults involved in voting, but they're still trying to penalize him because he didn't vote. But he's being truthful about it. Oh, I didn't vote when I was younger. I could tell you when I voted, I probably wouldn't have made this. I was voting because, hey, my parents probably said, oh, you vote for these people. I wasn't like really thinking of my own choices. When I voted at 18, matter of fact, I voted at 18. That probably wasn't a good choice when I voted. Maybe not. But I voted. But are they going to penalize him because he didn't vote? He was eligible to vote for the last 20 years and he didn't, or 17 years.
Sir, excuse me, because this is important. We have to pause it. This is not a personal attack.
That's okay.
This is a personal attack. Stop it.
This is you, and I know that as a Republican, you are certainly not soft. So this is not a personal attack.
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
okay with
asking
attacks,
about
too.
this is about asking about your background and how it correlates, how it's relevant to saying you're going to serve this country, because president is actually.
So I have been an
serving
open book
the
in the last 3
country.
years.
Yeah, I know, and I'm
Absolutely.
going page by page.
And
but
I'm
it's not
saying
an
that I
attack.
have not.
I'm gonna let you finish,
Yep.
but I want to be clear. It's not an attack.
Okay.
Because
You keep on saying it's not an attack, but you're saying it in that manner. This is a personal attack. It's not an attack. It's not an attack. A president is supposed to serve. Why are you making this requirement? Where do you look? The rules are already laid out. You don't need to make new requirements. This is only your requirements. You're trying to make more for the show or whatever. But these are your requirements. But no, this is not America requirements. He's a citizen. He's over 35. He could run for president.
because you've been an open book, but that doesn't mean I have to like what's on the page.
That's fair
But
enough.
it's not an attack. I'm just reading the book.
Yep.
And so when I hear somebody say you need to get to either pass this test or do some type of service to the country, and I spend hours looking, you were in the Phi Beta Kappa. Did you have a leadership role in college, the honor roll? When somebody sets service as the standard and they've done no service except to themselves, that's a fair question. It's a question. And you
So I've been on the, I mean, look, I was on high.
And he didn't say service as a standard. All he said is they need to pass this test to know what's going on in America. That's another thing. You keep on saying service as a standard. No, he's saying that no, you need to know what's going on in America before you start voting. At least the 3 branches of government, and pass the same test that illegal immigrants pass before they become a citizen of the United States. I think that's the only fair thing to do, or fair requirement to do.
I was on high school student council. Yes, absolutely.
Were you a leader? Were you a leader?
I was a vice president of my high school student council. Absolutely. I was the president of the National Honor Society. I can go down the list. It's just that
that's
these
what
are
I was asking you to do. Go down the list.
So I was a president of the National Honor Society. I was the vice president of my student council. I was a lead amongst the volunteers at the hospital where I served growing up. I was actually a leader in volunteer research over the summers. from my senior
But
year.
all of that, but you already admitted all of that was to get into college.
Not
But
all
go
of it,
ahead.
but I am admitting it. I think that
I know
it's
that's
important.
self-service though. I just want, do you,
That's not self-service. That's like I'm volunteering. I think she's conflating the two. Just because you do all these requirements and you're young, hey, I want to go to college, so yeah, I'm going to do these things to get into college. But if I don't want to do it, he didn't have to do all those things. He probably could have did one or two things and still got accepted into college. That it doesn't make any sense. Like I said, this is a typical angry Black woman. I'm honing in on my point. Y'all can get mad at me if you want to. This is a typical angry Black woman. It's never enough. And she's giving this guy, you moving the goalposts for the requirements to become the president of the United States. Because you got some type of vendetta against him. I'm not for sure. Did they grow up in the same hometown? I'm not for sure. But she doesn't like him.
you
A lot of
understand the
that-
difference between
a lot of-
self-service
and
and
I think,
service?
and I think the reality is, and I think we just all have to be more honest. When
We
many
do.
high school students are serving today, not all of them, but I think let's smoke it out. I don't like that structure where we actually
No,
mix
and I don't like the
service with
structure.
self-interest.
And
So-
I don't like the structure of somebody saying somebody need to give service as a veteran. I don't like the structure of somebody
That's
going
fair,
to
and
the
we can
highest
disagree.
office of the land and have not served anybody at any time unless it was self-serving. So this is where we just have two different ideologies. And I know your
and here's
goal
my
is to come here and
perspective.
get into.
Here's
Yeah,
my
I know. That's
perspective.
why
Let
we
me-
got
let me
different
sh-
Remember,
perspectives.
two guys, he got to leave in 5 minutes. I know.
Hold
he
on,
has-
I
he has-
wanna-
I'll let them wrap
Yeah.
up.
I know-
Let me just say one thing is you don't, here's my vision of the run for presidency. And this is why I say I'm an open book is my job is to make sure people in this country know who I am and what I stand for. And I think that very few politicians on either party actually get that job done. So what I say is I'm an open book about who I am and what I stand for. Whether the people of this country want to vote for me, that's their question, not mine. That's their job to determine, not mine. And you're free not to vote for me. I expect you won't, and that's okay. But I'm doing my job in this, in the 3 books I've written over the last year, in the conversation I'm having with you guys, being far more honest than any politician that I know in the last 10 years in this country. And I think when I say we want to fix corruption, you don't know what the first step is? The first step is actually people being honest. So you guys know me. You know what I stand for. I haven't hit back on that.
do you
Whether
wanna
people in
unite
this
the
country
country?
want to vote for it, that's their choice.
Do you want to unite the country?
I do want to unite the country.
So why is like one of your marquee campaign proposals making sure Black people can no longer benefit from affirmative action?
See, here's the thing. It's actually been a disastrous experiment over the last 60 years. I've seen the impact that it's had. Unlike a lot of other executives, I've had senior executives in my company who happen to be Black, senior executives in my campaign who happen to be Black. I actually went to a majority or close to majority Black school 1st through 8th grade. There isn't a single one of those Black kids or Black colleagues that could not have achieved everything I have in my life. I firmly believe that to be true. And I have seen the unfair discrimination behind closed doors, the things that people will say behind closed doors, about somebody who would have had that position anyway, but was unfairly tarred with the taint of saying they got it because of a race-based quota system. I think that's unjust to everyone across the board. And I think the right way to do this is actually ensure equality of opportunity, educational access at an early age, which, by the way, we don't have in this country, starting at an actual young age. How about doing that in a way that's agnostic to race? That way we prevent seeing one another on the basis of a color of our skin, but we actually solve the real inequalities that we have when it starts with inequality of opportunity, starting with education. So my view is I think my approach is actually going to be more successful in lifting up more Black Americans than have been the Lyndon Johnson approach of actually using race-based quota systems.
So if the Supreme Court does rule on affirmative action and they do ban it, who do you feel it benefits versus who it hurts?
We already went over affirmative action yesterday. If y'all want to catch that live stream, it's under Biden, who brought the cocaine into the White House or something like that. I put it under. But I got timestamps under there. I believe what the court case ruled, this is prior to what they ruled in the Supreme Court, I think is fair and just because, like Joy Reid mentioned in some of her commentary, she was sought out. And when she got to Harvard, they was questioning her that she should be there. But she said she had high test scores, and they actually sought out. Many companies are headhunters. They actually seek out talent in these smaller colleges or smaller companies, or even if you're in basketball, if you are in engineering, colleges, they typically go to smaller towns because they don't know if they're missing talent. That's called headhunting. That's nothing to do with affirmative action. They're picking out the best talent because they know that some of these kids might not apply for Harvard or whatever. That has nothing to do with affirmative action. That's all to do with the company is being smart, and they know, oh, all the elites, we know we're going to accept the elites, but these are not the top talent people. We got to look throughout America at these smaller towns or these smaller universities to see if we could find this top talent. So why would we need affirmative action if they're already doing that? Anyway, that's just my own personal opinion. And I think Charlamagne is going about, hey, you didn't have affirmative action when you signed on as a co-founder of iHeartMedia. Was it affirmative action when you started the Breakfast Club? I don't think so. Top talent. And you worked hard to be in the position that you're in. And nobody's could question that. But with affirmative action, now, did we need affirmative action probably maybe 20, 30 years ago? Probably so. Yeah. But now, do we need it? Like I said, there's a president of Harvard, and she's a Black woman. We don't, how could that happen? Was that affirmative action? I don't think so.
I think that it helps everyone if they end race-based affirmative action in college admissions. I think it will literally help everyone in different ways because it restores merit in the United States.
Merit.
Are we perfect in ensuring equality of opportunity? No, we're not. The fact that kids are trapped.
He used the word merit. Yeah, it restores merit. Merit. That's a very good word to use.
By the zip code in which they're born, determining where they go to school is a problem, which is why I favor universal school choice in this country, which has actually done more to help Black Americans than has any affirmative action program.
What's your thoughts on people saying that you got Don Lemon fired?
I think that the New York Times reported that. I had an open debate with Don Lemon. What CNN wanted to do with that is their choice. My view is, though, we need to start saying in public the things that people are otherwise saying in private. There's a gap right now in the country. Let's admit it. Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter.
Be careful with that because a lot of people in your party going to start saying nigga out loud.
Why is Charlamagne like this? Why does Charlamagne do this kind of stuff? He thinks Republicans are so racist. And I find that not to be true. I feel like more liberals are more racist than Republicans. I think there's a race issue on both sides, quite frankly, but I find it that liberals are more racist than Republicans. They do more racist things than Republicans. So why would he say that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And why would they ask the question, did I get Don Lemon fired? Don Lemon got himself fired. You guys want to view that video? Look up, I got Don Lemon he got a wig on, and I called him Donna Lemon, but it's the interaction with Vivek Ramaswamy. And he got himself fired. He got himself fired. Nobody could get you fired. He don't own CNN. Don Lemon, for the last few years, they did a whole hit piece on Variety of how he's a monster. He's a diva, hard to work with, having temper tantrums, threatening people. So what is he talking about?
I don't think so, actually. And I would certainly hope not. I would condemn it if they do. I would condemn it if anybody does. All right. But what I think is we need to close the gap between what people say in private and what they say in public. That allows us to air our differences, and then we actually find unity that way. That's actually what I think unites the country, not creating this culture of hush-hush, right? Say one thing in public and a different thing in private. And I do reject Don Lemon's premise. What did he tell me on set? He said, you can disagree with me when you have black skin and you've lived in this country, whatever ethnicity you are. Explain it to me. And I just reject that. I think we should.
Sir, let's just use a real example of just what everybody said. You said, people can have difference of opinion. They can have, you want to unite people. I gave you a difference of opinion as a veteran, and you came back and said that I was personally attacking you. And that is a way of gaslighting and basically.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
Trying to set the idea that I was against you when I just had, that's the statement you made. And what I'm saying is, instead of us just having the debate, because see, I didn't talk about colors, which you probably expected when you came in here.
I didn't
talk. Well, that's fine. I didn't talk about color. I didn't get all emotional about your vision, because I really wanted to just talk about what you've done in service, because you yourself has raised service as the number one thing that what people need to do in order to participate in the country that my ancestors built. And you said that I personally attacked you.
Okay. We could just say our ancestor built this country. The problem I have with this, okay, black people built this country. Let's just go off of that narrative. I mean, and I'm not saying it's a narrative. Yeah, we built this country. The buildings that you see today, like the building that I live in right now. And I'm calling the building, it's a house. Did a black person build it? No. Some of the roads that's being built right now, and we're saying built this country off of free labor. We're saying free labor, profited off of free labor. The subdivision that I live in, this is a new subdivision, less than 12 years or 15 years old. Just free black labor? Probably not. No. Slavery hasn't been in existence for hundreds of years, or since 1876. Okay. So we harp on, we built this country. Yeah, we built parts of the country. Can we talk about how we dismantled the country too? We're talking about we built this country. Let's talk about how we, the riots just recently, George Floyd. We burnt cities down. Black owned businesses. We keep on going back so far back that we can't even reach. But like 2 to 3 years ago, we put small businesses out of business because we rioted and loot. Let's call a spade a spade. And she keeps on harping on, we built this country. Yeah, we did. Some parts of the country. But other parts of the country, we tore down.
So just to give you some advice, if you're going to say, hey, let's have difference of opinion, let's be able to discuss.
I loved everything you did. I loved the whole thing.
That because I had a question that it was a personal attack, because
it was. I don't.
You keep on saying, and she knows someone's going to say to her, and it's probably in her feed, this was a personal attack. That's why you keep on harping on it. Your attitude reveals that this was a personal attack, that you don't like this man for some odd reason. He did something to you, you or your mama, or because he's just a different race. You don't like him.
I don't think a question. I think this is great, because you know what I said? What's
did
the
you
job?
Say personal
What's
attack?
the job is everybody needs to know.
He didn't say personal attack. You making that stuff up. He didn't say personal attack. You said personal attack. He welcomed the questions.
Who a candidate is and what they stand for. That's the candidate's job. Whether you vote for them or not, that's your choice.
Did you say I personally attacked you, or did I hear it wrong? I just want to make sure.
I did not say you personally attacked me. No, I said we have actual Good. I wanted to know whether or not we were actually able, you said sit around for 20 years. I said I didn't sit around for 20 years, but that's okay. I think that, you know what, if somebody's running for U.S. president, I want to say this.
Well, you
If
did.
can't handle
So
the
you
heat,
did
stay
say,
out of the
quote, you
kitchen. So
said
we'll come in
we can keep
and we'll
going
handle
with
the
the
heat.
personal attacks. You did say personal attacks, though. So let's be honest. Remember, that's your number one thing, being honest.
And I know you.
I agree with
I know
you.
you have to go, but I do disagree on what you said about affirmative action because I feel like
Fair enough.
without that legislation, I don't think black people stand a chance. We had to create the legislation to even have a chance. And I don't know why you have faith that without that legislation, things will be fair or on equal footing for black people.
I think that most people who benefit from affirmative action are the immigrants who came after Kennedy's immigration reform in the 60s. They are not descendants of slaves. They are people who came as immigrants like my parents did. And so I just think it is a broken system to say that you look like someone to whom a bad thing once happened and you're going to be favored over someone who looks like someone who once did a
So you
bad
think
thing.
your parents would have gotten the same shot without that legislation?
I mean, so it turns out that Asian Americans, Indian Americans
Like you
don't
want to take away
benefit
something
from.
that benefited your parents, which directly benefited you.
See, here's what I'm saying is whether or not it's in our past, the question is, how do we actually move forward as one nation? And I do not believe it is with race-based quotas. I believe it is economically
disagree.
empowering all Americans.
I think that legislation was put here to protect people that look like me, people that look like you, and I think you're ridiculous to want to get rid of.
Here's what I would say is Lyndon Johnson's Great Society that this was part of, right? So affirmative action was part of it. There was a broader set of policies designed to help black Americans, I think have been disastrous for black Americans and all Americans.
Well, sir, what is the disastrous for you? And what Charlamagne is saying is your parents benefited from it.
They did not. As a point of fact, that's false. Indian Americans do not benefit from affirmative action.
No, that's not as a point of fact. No, that's not as a point of fact because without the liberties that black folks have fought for, which has basically immigrants have been able to prosper in this country because of that. But we're not going to go there. Let's just say they benefited from being able to have the freedoms that black people fought for. That's the bottom line. And then in turn, it benefited you. And then your answer a moment ago was, well, let's not talk about stuff in our past. See,
but why can't it benefit you then? Is that her problem? It benefited him. The stuff that black people fought for. Why can't it benefit you and your kids, or if you even have kids? Why can't it benefit other black people? Why is it that immigrants come over here and they achieve more success than people that been here for years? And I'm particularly talking about black people. Or even Mexicans. Why is it? Can somebody answer that question? Why is it that immigrants will come over here and run circles around us and they benefit, run circles around us, they build wealth and all this prosperity, and we've been here for years. And we can't achieve what they achieve. Why is it? Can somebody answer that question to me? I see the literacy rate in states now. Yeah, I mean she's saying that his parents benefited off of the atrocities over the things that we fought for. Okay, if he benefited, why can't we benefit? I don't understand that. And he's just as brown as us. He's able to achieve it, but why can't we? I'm still laughing when she said I stood up against the teacher snatching the papers and the kids probably cheating. You know what? I never thought about that. KK, I never thought about that. Yeah, the kids was probably cheating on the papers. And so she got mad. The teacher got mad and snatched the papers. And this is the story in her head. Oh, she snatched our papers. Yeah, because your ass was cheating. LS said, I seriously hate how they don't let him talk. They're not going to let him talk because they don't want him to land his point, and he's not shaking up. He's not being shooken off of what they're saying and all the falsehoods that they're trying to, or the narrative that they're trying to push. So they're not going to let him speak. They're going to continue to push this narrative. And like I said, her whole demeanor, like she actually was in this a relationship with this man. She knows him and had a baby by him. He left her. That's what she's portraying. She acts like she really knows this man. I can't imagine the way she might deal with her husband when she's pissed off. That's if she's married. I don't think she's married. I don't think she's married. Let me look that up. I don't think she's married because, like I said earlier, can you imagine if a guy was down on his luck and she was in a relationship with him? This is her Tezelyn figurator, a conflict resolution mediator. Can you imagine? What is she mediating? What is she resolving? Like a appellate conflict resolution mediator and trainer. Look at her face. She got that resting bee face. Political strategy, crisis management, customized training for America's most influential political, social, and cultural leaders. She's a public speaker. I don't think she is married. It doesn't say, probably not. If you marry, you usually have like, oh, I got my kids on here, maybe. Kids and your family. Yeah, so they said she's a conflict resolution mediator. And I don't know what she's mediating. It seems like she stirs up a bunch of stuff. And she talks down on people. Like, who is this? Rama I can imagine the way she might deal with her husband when she's pissed off. I can't imagine either.
Once it benefited you, you were able, you moved on.
I want to be honest with you. You guys want to get real? Let's get real. My parents were.
That's why the heart of a service. No, sir. Because black people had to fought.
Yeah, no, gotta get real. My grandparents lived. They were lived in a colonial society. Britain colonized where my grandparents lived as well. But I think that I don't do well by seeing myself as a victim of the white man because actually Great Britain happened to have colonized where my grandparents were actually colonized.
I think
that's moving the goalpost.
I think you were
benefited your parents when they got here.
That's right.
What benefited all of us is the fact that we have a free country where anybody is free to achieve what they want. I don't know they came to this country with not a lot of money. What benefited them was hard work and dedication. My dad faced layoffs when he was growing up at GE. Right. He went to law school at night to be able to keep his job. What did that teach me?
Affirmative action benefited him?
I don't think affirmative action benefited him. Absolutely not. I think hard work and dedication benefited him. And
hard work and dedication. What's wrong with that? Hard work and dedication. What's wrong with that? This is the same narrative what they said, oh, you got Don Lemon fired, because that's what the same sentiment he was carrying or trying to say. Hey, hard work and dedication would push you along. He said his parents didn't have any money. He suffered layoffs. He got laid off at GE. He went to night school, law at night to complete his degree. His parents. And his mom probably was a stay-at-home mom, or she probably cleaned up and had some odd job. But hard work and dedication, because that's what it takes to succeed. Nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to save you. The white man's not going to save you.
That's part of what I want to share with all Americans. I want to make this the country where no matter who you are and what your skin color is, you get ahead with your own hard work and commitment and dedication. That you get ahead not on the color of your skin, but the content of your character.
He has to go, guys.
And that's what I want for America.
One more thing. You told a voter that you were open to ending foreign aid to Israel. Then it was reported that it was a misunderstanding. What happened with that?
Yeah, it was that was a false reporting, actually. So I think
you never said that.
No, I did not. I said that I was open to actually a broad strategy of disengagement from the Middle East. My general view is we fought a lot of pointless wars.
Well, I'm not going to harp on this. This is something that, angry Black women, they don't agree with Vivek Ramaswamy because he's a conservative. They're not going to ever agree with him. So they're just going to give him a bunch of crap. They're not going to let him finish his talking points. They're going to just throw questions at him. If you guys want to link, take them without my commentary, just type in Breakfast Club on YouTube with Vivek Ramaswamy and it'll come up. It's like the first thing that comes up. But they're a mess. And old girl, Tezelyn Figuro, she's supposed to be a veteran and she's a reservist. We found that out. And she's supposed to be what do you call it? A mediator. A conflict resolution mediator. To me, that cracks me up because she was so combative during this interview. A conflict resolution mediator. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. So you guys, I've been online for a couple of hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get back online a little later. You guys stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. I'm on the road to 30,000 subscribers. I haven't hit it yet. I'm like 2,000 subscribers away. So you guys subscribe to my channel. And later on this evening, what I'll do, I'll go online and we'll talk about another take about Black America. You know, how some Black Americans don't really care for this country. So I'm going to get offline so I can feed my kids. And you guys, I'm sending all my good to you. And I will talk to you soon.